friends. It's I, Dollface. I must protest. I am in mourning as the Texas Board of Education sits here and forces religion. Somebody named Jesus that mows our lawns down our children's throats. Who would have thunk it? Let's start with the 9 Commandments according to the Free Houston Press. This week's edition of April 8th, 2010. They say, start the American history book with Christopher Columbus. We used to start with him. Why not now, they said. No one wants to hear about Indians supposedly walking across some ice bridge and populating this area because no one ever really lived here before Christopher Columbus got here. Vikings, anybody? Absurd. This next one just makes me appalled. Omit lessons on the slave trade? That's how I got where I am today, this bourgeois face of doll. All of these unnecessary descriptions of slave boats and atrocities conditions portray the colonists as an unfavorable and unfair light. They were just responding to some economic conditions. I mean, who hasn't exploited some cheap labor these days? Ross Perot, Bill White, not to mention you, Mr. Perry. Nextly, remove any mention of Karl Marx. Why should they get rid of this lovely man's name? He is a wonder. His works are products of the most evil kind. Exposing students to such evil philosophies could be detriment to all our futures. Hitler, George Bush II, Richard Nixon. Next! Let's just skip Charles Darwin altogether. He never sailed anywhere. He just sat on some boat and went around some pool of water, and all he found were birds that looked different in every part of the world. Says itself, guys. 5. Religion. The biblical section. It's a mass portrayal of how some men grew up, and we didn't hear anything from him for 20 years. Then voila, he's a carpenter, and then he's fucking a whore. Mary Magdalene. You should be ashamed. Blech. Who needs God's word in the classroom? It's kind of funny. Somebody said Easter and resurrection. Isn't that witchcraft? Next, let's go on. De-emphasize civil rights leaders. The chairman McElroy said it best. The woman's right to vote. The woman didn't vote on it. The men did. The men passed it for the women. Eventually, the Civil Rights Act. In other words, the minorities were not able to do it by themselves. Men. Who needs those guys these days? It's incestuous. Like we were saying in French. Set. Increase emphasis on disease killing with the Indians. Let's just de-emphasize it. In fact, Americans, or colonists, killed the Indians. Their disease were later. Did somebody say, walk of wounding trail? Next, let's portray manifest destiny in the best light possible. It was God's Christianity given right for us to just go from one end of the earth to the other. All I have to say is, molestation. Let's just touch every child from each coast to coast to coast. And last but not least, 9. Change all mention of Native Americans to Indians, because they certainly weren't red dots, they were feathers. And they were here first. Calling them native means that we stole their land, which is totally true. This atrocity is just uncalled for. Bottom line is, Dollface hates the way the Texans are trying to change the way the books read. Books are supposed to tell the truth, not change the truth, is all we have to say. Yet, the truth is all we have, because it will set you free. Oh yeah.